You are listening to Making It in the Toy Industry, episode number 263.
Welcome to Making It in the Toy Industry, a podcast for inventors, entrepreneurs, and makers like you. And now, your host, Azhelle Wade.
Hey there, toy people. Azhelle Wade here, and welcome back to another episode of Making It in the Toy Industry. This is a weekly podcast brought to you by thetoycoach.com. Today continues our New York Toy Fair 2025 exclusive interview series. But before we dive into our next interview, let's quickly recap what we learned in last week's interview. Well, last week we learned that Alex is the business mind of Hootenanny Games and Whitney is the creative genius. They absolutely love working with inventors, and to them, the most important thing for a game pitch that they see is that the game brings the fun. They want to see people having fun playing your game. If you missed any episode in our New York Toy Fair 2025 exclusive interview series, head over to thetoycoach.com/podcast to check them out. To hear Whitney and Alex's episode, head over to thetoycoach.com/262. Okay, let's dive into our interview for this week. An in-person interview we held at New York Toy Fair with Lost Boy Entertainment's none other than Cameron Ring. Lost Boy Entertainment is one of the most exciting new publishers in tabletop gaming. They're the creative minds behind the games Piles, Plunder, King's Cup Extreme, and more. They bring fresh twists to classic style games. And today, in my interview with Cameron, one of the founders, we're talking about what's new, what's next, and why tabletop games continue to bring people together. This episode has a lot of clear answers for where you should launch your product, Amazon, your own website, or looking for distribution, why different channels have some more value than others. And Cameron does not hold back in sharing his entrepreneurial advice for anyone looking to start up their own toy or game company. So without further ado, let's dive into the interview. Cameron, welcome to the podcast.
Great to be here.
It was great to meet you yesterday, and we already got you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Might be a record. Not gonna lie. Right, that might be a record. So I love the name of your company, Lost Boy Entertainment, where you're inspired by Peter Pan.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we have a former Disney employee on the team, and our first game was about pirates. It felt fitting.
Oh, what was the first game?
Our first game was Plunder, A Pirate's Life. Oh. It's a 2 to 6 player strategy board game. It's very similar to Settlers of Catan, with some risk and battleship. Oh, you're a pirate and you do pirate stuff.
Ooh, that sounds. Is it still out?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on all the places you can get games.
Wow, that's amazing. So, like, the tabletop industry is super tight knit. How did you break in as a brand new company? When did your company start? I'm sorry, I should ask that first.
No worries. Technically speaking, Plunder came out at the very end of 2019.
Wow, okay.
And when we released our second game, King's Cup, we started taking it much more seriously and really took on the Lost Boy Entertainment name and started releasing games regularly.
How did you break in?
Yeah.
So this industry is very tight. People always say you can't get into the toy business without being in the toy business or the game business. What was your first thing that helped you break in?
We are definitely an out-of-nowhere new publisher. And it started with the passionate idea to make a board game. And we did a very small print run. It was for fun.
How small?
500 copies.
Oh, tiny, yeah.
Yeah. We basically saw that there was a demand in the industry. We all grew up gaming, me and my business partners. We grew up gaming, we're family, and we felt that there was a lack of this middle type of game, somewhere between the really hardcore games and the really, really straightforward games, that gateway type of game. And we wanted to make something that we ourselves would enjoy playing and would enjoy playing with our family. So we did a small print run of our piratey board game Plunder. And when it sold out, we did another print run and another one. And then we said, okay, hold on, maybe there's something here.
Did we just make a business? Where did you sell it?
So we started just on Amazon, sometimes shipping out of the garage, and sometimes letting Amazon take the reins, and that allowed us to get our game to people all across the country, and faster than we could ever hope to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Started on Amazon, and then made our own website. Now we're on TikTok Shop, we have some games in Target, hobby stores across the nation.
That is awesome. So who are your co-founders? You said you're a family?
Yeah, so it's me and my two cousins. So it's me, Casey Corey, and Chris. We are the entire team. We have some artists who help us with some wonderful graphic design.
Yeah.
But that is it. that means we are also the guys in the warehouse. We are the guys doing the marketing.
Oh my gosh.
And we're also here at the conventions having a good time.
How many SKUs do you guys have currently?
We now have 9 on the market with 3 more to be released by the end of the year.
Okay, and SKUs, just for the people that are new, is per item. Like each item is considered a SKU.
Mm-hmm.
9, 3 people. Mm-hmm. Everything from product development to concept to sales to warehouse to ship.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a busy life.
This is your full-time job.
This is the full-time thing now. After a year or 2 of doing it, we all made it the full-time gig.
What was the moment that you knew that Lost Boy Entertainment was ready to go from just being an idea that you kind of like a hobby to like a full-time business?
I don't think we ever thought that it would sell out in the way that it did, Plunder. It was a fun idea, and there's so many games being released every year. I don't know if we ever really thought it would catch on that quickly. Yeah. And when it did, and then we had another idea and another idea, we decided, I don't want to give away these ideas. I don't want to not make them. Let's just keep doing it. And I think it really clicked when other people started approaching us and saying, we like your game, let's talk. And I think that was the moment we realized we really had something on our hands.
Was that at conventions or?
It started with emails and Zooms, and we didn't even go to a convention until a couple years in. Now we do them all the time. And the conventions have also helped us get to the next level. As you can hear, my voice is gone because of the conventions.
I know. I met him yesterday. I was like, who is this person? My voice was gone too, and then it just came back like 30 minutes ago. So I don't know.
Yeah, we were in Kentucky a few days ago, and then came straight here to New York. So no days off.
Gamma?
Gamma.
You were at Gamma.
Great convention.
Oh my
Gamma.
gosh. Yeah, I haven't been there yet. I gotta go. I know. I gotta go. So I have so many questions, like so many things racing through my mind. Okay, for aspiring game designers that are wondering if they should self-publish or if they should license or if they should start their own website or Amazon, do you have any advice of where you would tell them to start?
Definitely. It's become easier in today's world with e-commerce to get games out there. But there are a lot being released every year.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, remember that the most important thing is the game itself.
Okay.
Is it fun?
Yeah.
Do you want to play it? And that, I think, is king in an age of 1,000 new games every year. There's a lot of challenges, and we went our own route because we, as silly as it sounds, we wanted control. We wanted total decision-making abilities, and we didn't like the idea of someone else kind of taking our idea and changing it in a way that we might not agree with. Not to say that's not a great route for many publishers, but we decided to roll with it our own way, and it was a slow burn. We did not do, a 50,000 unit order out the gate.
Yeah.
We self-funded. We didn't use Kickstarter, which again is another great route you could take, but again, we wanted to, be in charge of everything.
Yeah.
So my advice is
We didn't
love
want any
the game.
bosses.
Yeah. My advice is love the game you make, trust the process, trust yourself, and know that there is a world you could do it yourself and do what feels right.
I want to go back to Blunder a little bit. Like when you got on Amazon, were you using Amazon keywords to promote it? Did you do like marketing efforts, or was it just that people were searching for pirates at the time?
I think there was a lack of pirate games a few years ago. Funny enough, since then, there are a lot of new pirate games.
Okay.
It started with the natural marketing that we're very lucky that a board game gets very natural marketing.
How do you say? What do you mean?
Well, when you buy, maybe something in your kitchen or something in your for furniture or something like that, you buy it and that's it. A board game has to be used with other people. You play with 6 people. One person in that group decides to go buy it. They go buy it. They go play with their group. One person, and so on. And that's a really wonderful snowball that can occur.
Yeah.
So we were not on Amazon ads for the first year. We had no money, so we got a very natural push. I do attribute a lot of it. It was COVID hit, and I think people were indoors.
Board game time.
I think people were indoors playing games.
So it was a burst of board games, and there were no pirate board games.
Yes.
So it was a combo.
And like I said, I do think this gateway world, a bit more than like the Sorries of the world. I grew up playing Sorry.
Yeah.
And not quite the 6-hour hardcore game. I think there was a demand for that type of game.
Right.
And now we do traditional marketing. We're also very active on social media. And I think our authenticity, our marketing is just us playing the games. It's not unboxing videos and stuff.
Yeah.
So that has been really good to us.
So tell me a little bit about these games. Piles. This is your number 1 game right now?
Yeah, Piles has kind of taken the world by storm. Piles it's my favorite game to play because there's no turns, and as we say, there's no time to waste. Piles is matching and sorting and memory. I like playing one-on-one, but you can have up to 8 people. And who would have thought that laundry could be fun?
I was gonna say, I hate doing laundry. Absolutely hate it.
We did make a game about chores.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, it's been okay.
Notice it's not called laundry. It's
Yes.
it's called piles.
Working title was Laundromatch. Thank goodness we didn't go with
That's
that.
a mouthful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plunder was our first, and then naturally, I was fresh out of college. Naturally, the next game was a drinking game we made.
King's Cup?
King's Cup Extreme, based on King's
Oh my gosh,
Circle
he's
of
so
Death,
cute.
Ring of Fire. That is the mascot. His name is Chug.
Chug is adorable.
He's a little beer can.
Oh, is he? That's so funny. He's a beer can that's drinking.
Yes.
He's a
yes.
key.
Yeah, the irony is not lost.
my God, so funny.
Every card has unique art. We were really proud of that. So then we made piles, and then we made Cheers to the Governor. Behind me.
the Governor.
Yeah, behind me is our new whiteboard game.
Ooh.
We go way back.
What's this about?
It's a game meant to be played with your friends and your family, and it's about being assigned a player in the group secretly, and then having to cleverly think of a clue that only they will know is meant
Oh,
for
I
them.
love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So if I'm playing and the category is vacations, and I've been assigned my buddy who I know was stung by a jellyfish once in Hawaii, my clue might be jellyfish. Everyone
That's
else
so
goes, what is
good.
that? And then
I like games like that. Like, I like partnering with my husband when, it's usually like a couple versus couple. But this is so great because you don't have to be a couple, and it can be, and you switch people, so it's like more of a challenge. Like, that's so cool.
It's one of those games that you end up not caring about who won, but talking and reminiscing and sharing stories.
Realizing you probably should hang out with somebody more. You're like, ooh, I
see
did
this
not know
person.
anything about Tina.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so sorry, Tina.
I know.
Oh, that's so great. So are you selling to specialty? Are you in mass market? Where are you at?
So we now distribute through Asmodee,
Oh, yeah.
which was huge.
Julian, hey.
They are the best.
Yeah.
And they approached us and now help us get into mom and pop shops across America, as well as doing some translations for piles in different languages. We're now in 20 countries, 12 languages, which has been really amazing to see. But we're also on e-commerce. We're on Amazon. We're on Walmart.com. Our own native website with Shopify.
Yeah.
And now Piles is in Target, along with our board game Plunder.
What, if you're able to share, I'm curious to know what drives the most business, your own site, Amazon, or distribution?
I think it's a wonderful mix. I do think there's plenty of people who like to get games in different manners. I think e-commerce is still going to be king for the time being, but it depends on the game. Plunder does really well in mom and pop shops because it's the type of game that I would want to see on a shelf and then explore. It's got good table presence. Whereas a drinking game like King's Cup, it lends itself better to, you see it in online marketing and then you go to your favorite e-commerce platform. I do think every game is different.
Interesting.
Piles is somewhere in the middle. It's so bright and colorful, but
Interesting.
it also looks good on our videos.
I always wonder about that, like when people are building their long-term strategy, should they go one way or the other? But I like this concept. If you're making lots of product, different product might do better on different channels.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you attract, or do you know how you attracted the distributor Asmodee? Because a lot of people, when they're first starting out, they need help with distribution, but they actually have no idea what would make a distributor want to work with them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was funny because Asmodee, obviously, Catan, and we thought Plunder was the next Catan. I still think it is.
Yeah.
And so we thought that Plunder would be kind of the door opener, but it turned out to be Piles. And what did it was our organic social media videos, primarily being on Instagram and TikTok. And TikTok is the best app for reaching people that don't already follow you, for getting that pure exposure. And it was Piles in the end of the day. We would post videos, just a POV of us playing. The full game only takes, if it's a one-on-one, 2 minutes. So the entire video was the entire game. And people we wouldn't even say the rules, people would learn just by watching.
Yes.
And it was that ability to film a dozen videos in an hour and have a week's worth of content like that for free was what was game changing for us. Plunder doesn't really lend itself to that.
No, you cannot.
And so
Yeah.
that was it. As
really-
they saw Piles, and then they said, well, surely the other games are something worth checking out. And
that's so
that was
great.
it. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you.
Huge. Okay. I want to wrap this up with our second topic, how to make the most of industry events. So Toy Fair is a big investment for any company. How did you know you were ready to come to a show this big, and how did you prepare to make the most of a show this big?
Absolutely. We started with a few smaller shows, but we always knew Toy Fair was kind of that white whale, that one you'd love to go to, and it's tough to break in. And we got experience with the smaller shows. We knew we were ready when we felt like we were no longer nervous about going to conventions. We felt like we were kind of a well-oiled machine. And Toy Fair, though, is an impressive event. And my advice is it's not just about your booth. It's not just about your pitch. It's about the networking. It's about meeting all these great people. It's about finding a new person, a new distributor, a new friend. And it's a tight-knit community that we're just now entering. And but there's plenty of connections to be made.
Is this your first?
This is our first Toy Fair.
First Toy Fair, and you've been in business since 2019.
Yeah.
So I always tell my students, like I have so many students that want to rush to Toy Fair because it's the show that everyone knows about. So like when they first have their idea, I'm like, I don't want to go to Toy Fair. And I'm like, no, don't go. I'm like, don't rush when you're not ready, because it's almost worse than not going at all. Because sometimes you can make a bad impression, you can make a bad contacts, or waste the money and then not have money to invest in the business and start it in the first place. So brilliant to go and get comfortable at other shows. Then you come to this show and you are new, but you seem like a pro, you know? So people are like, oh yeah, we'll work with you. You look like a pro.
Yeah, Toy Fair is great.
What's been the biggest surprise at Toy Fair for you?
The scope. Something about, you walk in to the Javits Center here and my breath was taken away.
Really?
It's massive and it's beautiful. And the fact that we have a booth and then you look over and you see Lego is inspiring. It's amazing. And then someone is chatting at your booth and you have a normal conversation and then you look down and you realize they represent $1 billion company. You know,
that's so true.
And it's intense and it's bizarre, but it's awesome. And it's game changing for us. It can be game changing for anybody. And we're gonna start coming if we can every year.
Yes, and be nice to whoever you meet at Toy Fair. You won't always be able to see the badge and you have no idea who you're talking to. Sometimes people wear other people's badges, I've
noticed that.
Yeah, so like you still have no idea. You have no idea who you're talking to until they tell you their name. That's a great tip. Oh, you've given such good tips. Okay, last question. For indie game designers and publishers thinking about attending Toy Fair in the future, what are the biggest do's and don'ts for making the most of this event?
Do be yourself, be authentic, love your product. Don't overthink it. It's just a booth and some pitches at the end of the day. It's about your product. Like I said, it's about the game or the toy. Maybe there's no need to have a huge, waste all this money on a huge setup. If they even let you have they didn't even let us have, a huge setup. But
you're in the launch pad?
We are on this floor.
Oh, this floor. Okay.
And I know most of the games are below.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
Okay.
Which is fine. But it was totally cool with us. Well, it was more of a, we would take what we could get. But just, it is just another convention at the end of the day. It is New York and it is scary, but it's good people. You have a good product. And it's fun. This is the fun part. Looking at spreadsheets is not as fun as being somewhere and meeting fun people. So just go into it with an open mind. And again, the networking is huge, not just the cold pitches, but the walking around, exploring is just as valuable as what you're doing behind your booth.
Yeah.
So mix that in, be open to new experiences, and have fun.
Oh my gosh, Cameron from Lost Boy Entertainment, thank you so much. This was a great interview. You gave great tips. Anything you want to say before you head out?
Thank you for watching. We're Lost Boy Entertainment, and if you ever have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Where can they reach out to you?
You can find us at www.lost-boy-entertainment.com, or just type in Plunder A Pirate's Life and you'll find us.
And I will put the links in the show notes. Thank you again so much. I know you got to get back to your booth. I hope you have a great rest of your show.
Likewise.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Now, before we dive into our conclusion of this week's interview, I'd like to read a review left by one of our listeners. This review comes from DoRemy101. That's the username, but I know this is you, Gloria. Hi. So Gloria says, Azhelle was previously in my program, so I can't believe it took me so long to review her podcast. She says, I'm not in the toy industry, but as a PR coach for product makers, many who love toys, I love recommending them quality resources, and this is definitely one of them. Make sure to check out her epi on click-worthy subject lines because she knows what she is talking about. Also, love the range of shorter to the point episodes and longer, more in-depth interviews. And everyone has such great energy. It's a community you'll want to be a part of. And the episode she's referencing is episode 251. So if you want to listen to that, head over to thetoycoach.com/251. All right, let's dive into our conclusion of today's episode.
Lost Boy Entertainment is definitely a company to watch. From new releases to fresh takes on classic games, it's clear that you guys are building something special. So thank you so much for catching up with me at Toy Fair, Cameron. And what I love, my biggest and most favorite takeaway from our interview was the moment that you shared when I asked which of the distribution channels that you have right now bring the most revenue to your business. And your answer was they all actually bring revenue pretty evenly, except certain products work more on certain channels. So it was really interesting to think about when you're deciding, like, should I launch my line on Amazon? Should I launch it on my own website? Should I seek to work with a distributor? And this interview really changed my thinking into, let's look at which products might perform best on certain channels and perhaps not limit our product line to any one channel. So that was a great insight, Cameron. Thank you so much for sharing it. If you found another insight that really spoke to you, you can send me a message on Instagram. I'm at the Toy Coach. There's also a space where you can send me a message where you're listening to the podcast, I believe on Spotify or Apple. I do see those messages. Some of you are sending like half messages because I think you don't think that they're getting to me, but they are. So send a message there. And if it's something I can repeat on the podcast, I will. Thank you again so much for being here. If you love this podcast and you haven't already left a review, well, what are you waiting for? Your reviews put a huge smile on my face. They keep me coming back week after week and seeking out incredible interview guests like our guest today, Cameron. Every time a new review comes into my email, I get excited. My husband gets excited. So please stop what you're doing if you can. Leave us a rating and review. As always, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I know your time is valuable and that there are a ton of podcasts out there, so it truly means the world to me that you tune into this one. Until next week, I'll see you later, toy people.
Thanks for listening to the Making It in the Toy Industry podcast with Azhelle Wade. Head over to thetoycoach.com for more information, tips, and advice.